Hey everybody, how you doing? Bernie here, Bernie's Applebox here on the Applebox Network, and we are live. So please ask us some questions. We're going to have some great discussion today on really generational differences, I think, is something we're going to talk about with Ben Stanley, who's going to be with us here. First, I'd like to, what is it? Please ask us questions and please share this program. That would be awesome. So we're going to have Ben Stanley on. I want to introduce to you the engineers, Tony and Sean and Tyler. They're being camera shy right now. There they are.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. And, of course, my great co-host, Mr. Gary Hyman.
Yes.
Right here.
The
How you doing, buddy?
Very good.
All right, and if we can go to Ben, let me introduce Ben there, too. Ben is out in Palmdale.
Palmdale.
And there he is, hanging at the house, homing it today. I love it.
Trying to stay dry and recover from a couple of days of the auto show. You know how that is.
Yeah. Auto show alone will do you in. 2 days of that is about my maximum.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's open to the public today, but I had to deal with the press, so you know how that is.
Oh, totally. Yeah, those press junkets and everything like that. It's always,
yeah.
You know, it's so funny too when you go to those things. How many of the same people you see year after year after year there? You know, it's a big economy.
Sure.
It's a big economy.
It's like red carpet premieres. You see the same people at those a lot too.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's
so
their niche,
after a while,
you know. We used to do the press
go to enough of
junkets.
them, you start seeing.
Yeah, we used to do the press junkets. Same thing. You know, it was the same group of people. They'd go do different studios.
Yeah,
you know, but it was the same guys. They did that, and that was always a. It's always so surprising to me the microeconomies that go on. I guess certainly in California they're much more rampant than I think they are in other states and stuff. But those microeconomies, I mean, I live on a microeconomy to tell you the truth. I'm a small vendor for G&E, but I have a certain class of clients that are in a certain economic mode. Most of them are not deep enough pockets to support the big houses. So they come down to me, and they're a great customer for my size. You know, so there's those things working in media all the time that I think are really, and both Ben and Gary, both you guys know, those are great market targets out there to go for and go after, and it's a good sound living.
Absolutely.
You have to throw. I think you have to throw a broad net too, Bernie. You have to, you know. Obviously, there are people in this town who, you know, work the top tier clients, you know, the big heavy hitters, the huge budgets, the high dollar. But there's a lot of money to be made in the mid-level, and a lot of people get their start in the lower level projects that need to be done because there's a need for video, there's a need for production at all levels, and obviously you gain your chops, you know, at the smaller things, and as we all did, you kind of work your way up to the larger productions, you know, in the end. Ultimately, that's everybody's career arc, path, desire, I would think.
Yes, and you know what, you mentioned that, and it's very, there's almost just such a natural progression to it, too. There's a natural way you go. You meet bigger players, you become more experienced, you become more comfortable on set, you intersect with more people and producers who hire, you know, all of those things. Unless you have some sort of, and I don't mean this in a light way, but personality disorder or something that is going to keep people or make them leery of hiring you, you do naturally upscale and upgrade. You know, the thing is you get to a certain point, and that's where I think the real professionalism, skill, all of that comes to, because now you've got to keep yourself at that level, for a long time.
That's right.
And that's competitive.
You know, Ben, since you were on the ground the last couple days at the auto show, little meat and potatoes here, what kind of cameras were out there? Were there mostly one-man band kind of guys? What were you using? What camera?
Well, what we were doing was more, it was very bread and butter. It was very corporate. I was actually working, not so much the car show, I was working more with the execs, more of a of a think tank type situation. So I heard more ideas than anything else. You know what I mean? In terms of where the business is going, where their market is going. And I personally translated that directly into our business, you know, because we use images to sell their product.
Correct.
And they have to modify their product as we have to modify our product in terms of how it's presented, how it's acquired. So in that regard, that kind of loops and ties into the whole generational thing, because we're seeing a whole new group of consumers come up who acquire their product in a different way, literally and figuratively, you know, in terms of a car, in terms of how it's shot from our end, and the expectations are wildly different.
Absolutely. What kind of gear were you using? The camera itself. What camera were you? What type of camera were you using?
Oh,
and what did you see?
It was. I saw lots of cars, just lots of cars. It was more of the press event. It's all standard ENG cameras. You know, there wasn't anything that you haven't seen before. There weren't any big box lenses. It was more about the car. And like I said, what I did was more about ideas. And I did a think tank thing. I shot talking heads mostly, but it was all ideas. You know what I mean? So in that regard, I don't have a lot to tell you about the car show per se, but I do have a lot to tell you about ideas.
Great.
Yeah, we want to talk about that. You know, I just like to encourage everybody right now. Please share our show. Please share your show to a group you like, to some mutual friends. Share your show right now. Share our show with your friends right now. We'd greatly appreciate that. My guys too. Go ahead and share that show. We need Tyler to help you. He's anxious to learn.
Gary, in answer to your question though, as far as media coverage, what little I saw other people doing, it was very fast, very light, very modern. I mean, people were running around with little cameras on gimbals from all over the world. I mean, I saw crews from everywhere. Everybody was there. And I didn't get a chance because I was working. I didn't get a chance to see what they were doing, but nobody's setup was big. It was all very small, LED, fast, light, quick. Everybody was shooting 4K. I'm assuming everybody was shooting 4K.
Wow.
And it was like that. I saw one jib. You know, that was about it. You know, and some conventional cameras.
As you well know, Ben, you know, 5 years ago I did the show, and it was like production value plus. Kind of deal with jibs, Steadicam operators, all that stuff. So everything's sort of changed now, I guess. Everything's built towards social
the production
media.
value is still there. The footprint has gotten incredibly smaller, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're just doing things now. What took a lot of stuff before takes so much less now, and that's what the new generation. They can do the same, but a lot less, and get exactly the same results. And, you know, old timers like us are kind of scratching our heads going, well, we didn't do it that way. Well, we didn't because we didn't have that technology.
Right.
If we did, we would have done it that way.
Well, you know what, too? A lot of these people before, when, like it was the heyday, I'll call it, you know, or we are in there, that's when that pipeline was really small. It was a DVD, or it was closed circuit, you know what I mean? It was a DVD, it was something small that you had, that a lot of people had to get it, and it was longer format. Now so many of those people are just micro bloggers. You know, they're all going. They've had successful blogs. They've done it. They go to the car show. They know they're going to get 12 weeks of probably material out of that.
Sure.
And they do it. They don't need a big deal. And you know what? That brings us sort of to this prime thing that Ben and I were talking about yesterday. And that's generational differences. I mean, there is a great example. Probably more young people are adapting the micro blogger thing than old guys like us who are coming in there with that same mindset of going in and the way they produce it and shoot it and all that.
That's the key.
So
case in point, I felt old over Thanksgiving. I went to my stepdaughter. I went to my stepdaughter's house. She just bought a new home. And she and her man, they are entertaining. They had 12 of us over there. And I wanted to watch the football game, and they looked at me and scratched their heads and said, well, we don't have a TV. I said, well, what do you mean you don't have a TV?
Yeah.
You don't have off air? No, we don't have an antenna. Oh, we stream everything. You don't have an antenna. Can we pull it up and stream? Can we stream the game live? Well, not really, because we don't really watch stuff like that. Oh, okay. Thanksgiving without football, without TV. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
that's a different one.
And that's a different one. But I then realized, that particular, Gen Y person, that's their norm. That's what they do now. And they want to find out things now about, when they shoot, everything is much faster, much more immediate, where we tend to want to think, ponder, decide. Their thought process of getting from A to B is a lot quicker than ours ever was. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So
yeah, today's media is so different from yesteryear, because we used to have the salad, the appetizer salad, meat and potatoes, and dessert. And now, this generation seems like they just want the meat.
Oh, well,
let's go right to the main course.
And not only that, it's that revolving type of buffet. You know what I mean? It's coming back. Oh, Ben's getting a call.
Yeah, we're available, Ben.
We're available.
We're available.
Yeah, hang on. Let me turn this thing off. I knew this would happen. Sorry about that.
All phones on silent on set, please, sir.
Yeah.
You just buzzed the tape.
Yeah.
Back to ones.
That's funny.
No
That's
doubt.
funny.
No doubt. Sorry about that,
But you
guys.
know what? It is very much of a whole different thing, the way that media comes at you today. And even for me, I mean, it's radically changed for me. Because I'm this guy. I have the TV on, and I'm on my phone.
Yeah, of course.
100% of the time. Anytime that TV is on, I've got a phone in front of me, and I'm picking out, just what I like. But for somebody that grew up like Tyler's age here,
sure,
he's come up with the internet. He's come up everything. He's used to gleaning all of those things over. And Ben, I'm not a big sports fan, so not having the football game on would not have killed me.
Right.
But I would have wanted to check and see where they were at on any given game. I would have just literally gone to the sports thing and just hit it and see what the score was at that time.
Which is exactly, that's all I wanted to do. But you just hit on a point. Okay, when the three of us were growing up, how many TV stations did you have?
Oh, 3. We had 3 where I was up in Tacoma. Maybe Channel 13, which was on half the time.
And maybe if you lived in LA, you might have had 5. Okay,
you might have,
that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Most people had the big 3. Okay.
Yep.
When was TV over? If you turned on the TV back when we were kids at midnight, what did you see?
About midnight,
color
test
bars.
pattern.
Test pattern. Yeah.
You saw a test pattern.
The Indian.
What do you see now when you turn on your TV at midnight?
Everything.
Pretty much whatever you want.
Whatever you
the
want.
cheapest
Okay, that is-
infomercial that anybody could possibly
I think I worked
make.
on
But yeah, absolutely, we all did. But but that is the difference between that generation and our generation. And what I'm saying and what I'm learning is we can learn a lot from them because when I was in my 20s, I used to roll my eyes and kind of like we all did it. Oh, the old guys with the bad attitudes who don't want to show me anything, who discount everything I say, everything I do, because my opinion really doesn't matter to them.
You're just a stupid kid. You're just a stupid kid.
Right. You're just a dumb kid. So I'm just going to discount you. And the kid's looking, well, this person, they're going to ignore me. They don't care what I have to say. So my opinion means nothing. So I'm just going to, just sit here and, wait for one of them to die. Oh, look, he's caught a cold. Maybe he won't come to work today and I'll get my shot. Because believe me, when you're the oldest person in the office and you come in with a cough, they're not looking at you with sympathy when all the young people look at you like, oh, they're going to maybe kick it today and I can get their job,
Yeah. Hell yes.
You know what, Ben? I've seen that look in my crew's eyes so many times.
What did you tell me on a job once, Bernie? Heck, the shark comes up and bumps you every once before it takes your leg off.
That's right. That's when we were on the road in Vermont. And we went into that one bar and everybody was looking at me and you coming in. I go, they don't just attack; they come up and bump you once before they.
Who these two old guys were.
Oh my
But that's the difference, and I think there's a lot of fear amongst people my age, my generation, as to paranoia about job security. But then, at some point we have to surrender the reins to the next crop of people, because you're not going to work forever.
Well,
and I'm not done yet, and neither are you.
No.
Yes?
Well, here's what I was going to say on that, because I think this is sort of a bigger jumping off point, because, you really have to take into fact, it's not just age, it is when you grew up. It's not like if we were born into this generation, we would be like this generation, right, because of all the influences. And let me take it way back, because I think that, in my age group, Ben, you're a little behind me, Gary's a little more behind me, but we remember this. When we would tell that World War II generation that it's different, they would be telling us, here's what you do, this is how you do it, this is what you handle, and 90% of the stuff they were saying to us was correct.
Right.
We didn't have the maturity or the life experience to be able to go into that and get it like that. So we're fighting. But I remember saying something else that was true, but they didn't get, and that is, it's different now.
Right.
And you know what? That it's different now is more true to these generations that are just coming up now than it was even back then with us. It was a different economy. They grew up in the Depression. We grew up in the biggest boom the United States had ever seen. Everything was like that. And plus mass media was there where mass media was not there before. Radio was the only thing around when that generation grew up. And it had such a significant effect on the way the generation came together and the way it understood itself. So the generation that's out there now,
that would be Generation Z, which is 1996 to now.
Okay.
Yes, they were raised by generation. Baby boomers, basically 1946 to 1964.
Yes.
Okay, Gen X, 1965 to 1976. Okay. Gen Y or millennials, 1977 to 1995. Gen Z, the new young people, 1990 to right now, who were essentially raised by Gen Y people who essentially learned that advertising lies, and they have an inherent mistrust of pretty much everything. Okay, so Gen Z people are pretty much skeptical of everything that we believe in, because we as baby boomers were raised to believe you suffer silently, you work hard, you will triumph just through hard work and determination and being altruistic and free thinking, as it were.
Yes, very
that kind of works
world. That is very
old world. Yes,
that is not just World War II, but that was the way people believed you had to handle yourself prior. You don't talk about your rate. You don't talk about certain things are you don't talk about what you get paid. You don't ask for more. Right.
You know what I mean? More gruel, sir. Which kind of, and I want to thank you once again, Bernie, for inspiring me to raise my day rate.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I believe you talked about that on your show, and
That's
I took your advice to heart, and I told everybody, guess what? New year, new deal. Rate went up, not by a lot, but it did. Some people squawked for a minute, but by and large, they blinked.
Yeah. That's
you know why?
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think I'm worth it. And if you're going to do that, just make sure that you're in a position to do it, and you can deliver. Because nobody's going to pay for lack of results. You pay for what you get.
Yes, that is bottom line, Ben, right there. You better be able to deliver when you go in there. And just to reiterate what I had actually said, the economy is booming. We're here now. This is the opportunity where you raise your rate. So I just encourage everybody, bump it up by $50 minimum.
I did. That's what I did.
Yeah. And
you don't want to give everybody sticker shock,
but you do get a little pushback.
Yep.
But no one is going to, at least right now, let me just say that, with the economy as hot as it is right now, that they're not going to push back that hard.
No.
And here's the other thing. We, as a group of people in an industry, are the most timid people in the world for asking what our value is. That is something that blows my mind, and it's probably because I came from a different thing. Most people are saying
it's a
generation,
generational thing.
Maybe so, Ben.
yes.
That may
Oh
be
no,
so.
I agree.
Gen Xers have no problem with saying, this is what I am worth. This is what you need to pay me. If not, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have a
Absolutely.
problem with saying that.
Yeah.
We will say it, and then we get shocked when people go, okay.
Yeah.
And you've had that when you throw out the day rate, when you're kind of cringing, going, well, maybe I should ask for this. And then you throw it out there and they go, oh, okay. And then you realize in that moment, man, I could have actually asked for more money.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? They would have been willing to pay
true.
me more money for this, you know? And like you said, Bernie, we have been kind of trained to devalue ourselves, our generation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
and by and large, we're also, because, you know, I want to be that person. You remember the older person when you were young that was kind of hip, that was willing to try the new thing? Or how does that work, kid? Show me how that works.
Yeah, right.
I want to learn that. I think
Right.
there's that person in all of us. I really do.
Oh,
and I
sure.
think as long as that person never really dies, you're going to stay relevant, because in our game, you have to stay relevant. Right, Gary? You do.
Here's the deal, too. It used to be 3-man band, now down to 2-man band, now 1-man band. So we're doing the work of 3 people. So if you can't ask for a $50 bump, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
you got to value
well, like
yourself.
you said, you know, actually, there's below one man orchestra, or one person orchestra. You know,
Including conductor.
string section,
Including conductor.
the whole deal. Absolutely, you're field producing, but you know, think about it though. Again, it circles back to the generational thing. Less is more.
Yeah.
Technology allows for less people.
Yes.
Okay. The economies of scale. Why do I need to send in 3 people when I could send in one person with the proper training, with the proper gear, that could easily do the job of 3 people? Now, that might not be the best thing to do, but it can be done, because the BBC proved that model years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, briefcase uplink.
Yep.
They drop a reporter in shooting their own story with a remote. You shoot your own stand-up, you cut your own piece, you feed your own piece, and you move on.
Yeah.
That is how it's done these days. You know, that is one way to do it. Not the only way, but it is one way to do it.
Yeah. You know, Ben,
So,
we're going to take a little break right now, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right, I'll be right
Gary
here.
and Ben, we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Bernie. I own Bernie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Bernie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No. We present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Bernie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey, everybody, and we are back right here.
Back.
Mr. Ben Stanley is with us.
Yes.
And right now what we're talking about is sort of generational differences in filmmaking and how that's affected us, how it's affected everybody's perception of what they're doing, where they're at in the business, all of this. One thing I would like to ask you is to go ahead and ask some questions. Get yourself involved. I would love to hear some outside feedback from people. Share the show. Thank you. And but please give us some notes. Give us some notes here.
I'd like to know from some of the younger viewers in the game, you know, how do they perceive us? What do they think, you know, we're all about?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You know, because we've been talking about what we think they're all about, but what do they think we're all about? Do they think we're a bunch of inflexible people who devalue everything they say? That's not true at all.
We're the biggest pain in their ass, dude.
Oh, yeah.
If we could get rid of us, things would go swimmingly for them. I can assure you of that. That's exactly what I thought of the idiots that were, you know, I was working for. Yeah.
Older idiots we were working for.
But you know what? It's got to be. First of all, let me just say this, because I don't know if I've ever actually expressed this. Okay, I think this new generation, in the last couple generations we have, are brilliant. I do.
Absolutely.
I really think they're
Absolutely.
smart. I think they're socially aware. I think they are much better adapted to the world they're coming into than we are living in the world we are at now, to be honest with you.
Because we've paved the road for them.
Well, that's exactly what an old guy would say, right?
Of course.
but
go ahead, Ben.
But the flip side of that is a lot of these people do not play well with others.
No.
Okay, in a collaborative environment. Okay,
right.
Because think about it. A lot of before the advent of networking, you can play a game by yourself with a group of people and still be by yourself. Okay. Sure. When we were younger, you actually had to be in physical contact to play as a group with people. And a lot of times these younger people have learned a lot of things. They've learned to become very, very independent and do things by themselves. So sometimes that comes into the workplace with them and they don't have the best social interaction skills with other people on set, which can be a problem.
That can be. I'd like to throw my 2 cents in there on that one, because think about this, and I think you're right, but think about where we're at now, where they've come from, where we're going. We only had face-to-face interaction. You know, we only had that. Now, a whole 20 years worth of people almost have grown up online, you know, and if they haven't had even the heavy social media, but it's been around 10, 12 years now, they have always been able to go remotely and learn things. You know, that has taken them, I believe, to probably that point that you're talking about, Ben, where their maybe interactions or personal skills are not what ours were, and they could probably improve on that. But think about what their future world, they're brilliant, but think about what their future world is. It's going to be even less physical proximity. It's going to be much more remote. So those skills that they develop in a remote world are probably going to be our skills that were one-on-one.
Right.
You know?
It's true. It's true. And you know, Ben, here's the deal too, Ben. You know, it's... you know, when you look at your cell phone bill, 5 years ago, I was talking 5,000 minutes a month, talking to the clients and figuring out the projects. Now, I'm about 50 minutes cell phone talk.
Wow, because it's all text,
It's all text and emails.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about social communication between, you know, the younger people, the younger generation, is that I think their oral communication lacks.
Well, yeah, and I can't tell you how many younger guys I call up and never get a pickup.
Never.
Ever get a pickup.
They'll never pick
up. I'll give them voicemail, and I'll tell you, after I sit there and wait for that return call in 10 minutes, I text them.
Exactly.
And then I get an answer back right away. So it is learning those new tricks. You know what I mean? I remember my mother telling me that some of the old people that she knew when she was growing up would not talk on a phone.
Right.
They talked to somebody. They didn't talk to a damn phone.
Right.
You know, it seems impossible to imagine.
They'd
now.
rather write a letter.
Oh, they were related. I remember when people would not leave an answer on an answering machine because they called to talk to a person. That's how they said it. I called to talk to a person.
Yes.
You know, that,
though,
thinking is very generational.
Sometimes, though, it's very easy. You can't feel passion in a text. It's so easy to be dismissive of an idea, to be critical in a text. You can't argue a point or an opinion in a text as you can face to face. And sometimes our feeling is not, our business is not that sterile. There's a certain amount of passion that goes into the craft.
Oh.
And I don't want to see that passion lost because of machinations and because of automation. There's still a certain amount of hands have to be on, eyes have to be looking at monitors, and you have to look over at somebody and go, wasn't that great? I don't need to look down at a text and go and see, did you like that? No, I want to look at your eyes and see, did that scene move you? You know, or whatever, whatever we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally, Ben. I completely agree with that. And to extrapolate that even farther, take it off the set, media, and we've discussed this many times, I know that. Media has nothing to do with information. It has everything to do with emotion. It's not what you think of the movie. It's how you feel about the movie. And you take that right to the TV shows. You take that to the commercials. You take that everywhere. It is an emotive world, and I think we are losing, even my older generation, is losing that feel for your fellow person, that empathy. That is what it is, that empathy.
It comes around to our topic once again. It's all circling back. Okay, Gen Z kids were raised by Gen Y kids, which were typically the products of single parent households a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of latchkey kids who had to be self-reliant, who were unsupervised, who had what for entertainment? Television. Media.
Yes. Yeah.
So they had,
but they had a lot more than 3 channels then. They had a lot more. They had 300 channels.
Now what does Gen Z have? The internet, on demand. They don't have to wait anymore. They have it when they want it. They expect it when they want it.
It's with them all the time. The internet.
Absolutely.
They are never separate from it. They are never separate.
No, they're not. So their needs are very, very different, and how they perceive their world is very, very different, and how they interact, professionally and personally, is very, very different. So that being said, how we deal with them, we have to understand, how we deal with them and how they deal with us.
Yeah.
That's true. I was going to add on that when my talk time went down, so did my business. Because I was real good with my spiel on the phone. Yeah. Once I had the client on the phone,
you were a master of the phone.
I could talk them into, you're going to need makeup, you're going to need grip, you need a gaffer, so forth and so on. But now with the texting and emailing, it's just cold. Everything is cold. Even when I email my text, I go, "Hi, how are you doing?" I always open up with that. I try to make it into a conversation of some sort to get a feeling across. But
no, you just ask a 12-year-old to build you a web page.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get a 12-year-old to build you a web page, and you'll get all kinds of hits because they know how to do that stuff. And they'll tell you, oh, your social media presence, you need this, you need this, you need this, because you look at they work that now, and I'm still a Luddite to a lot of that. I'm just I'm a victim of that. But I'm willing to learn, because that is the new way of doing business. So it is. You have to adapt or get left behind.
I have always had this prediction, and I think it's almost kind of easy to predict, to be honest with you. Even though the internet comes along, even though cell phones come along, even though that ease of life changes in an extreme way and the amount of information that you have access to explodes in a huge way, all of that being said, we are the same human beings with the same emotions, the same thinking as that human beings were 50,000 years ago. We're jealous, we love, we hate, we make up, we feel sorry, we cry, we laugh, we do all those things. Human beings are still those things.
Sure.
You know, there is going to be, I believe, a resurgence of communicating in person. And I'll tell you why. Now, it may take quite a different spin, but that is what will happen, because you still have the same needs to communicate with another person on a very interpersonal level. You know,
Sure.
Just like where you can share that empathy. I believe that the next big trend will be bringing people together, and the people who have good people skills will actually kind of reign. You know what I mean? Who can teach people how to interact with each other.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
That's just my 2 cents on what I think this is all leading to.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yes.
So as we come to the end of the year and we're starting to look at 2019, what do you guys think are going to be the trends in our world come next year? Who knows? I mean, I have no idea, you know, where it's going to go. I mean, we've seen things come and go. Like, whatever happened to 3D? Where'd that go? Okay, you know,
Studios finally
Yeah, I
gave
think
up on
3D
that.
went back to 2D.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I lost the D.
Right. Okay. VR and AR are alive and well.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're just going to get better.
Right.
Bernie, is there anything that's exciting you?
You know
that
what
you see on the horizon?
I'll tell you what I think. Here's what I think, and I don't know when it'll happen, and I don't even know what form it is going to be in, but there are forms of it now, is telepresence. I think telepresence will be the thing that will attract people. In other words, you have your own specific front row seat at an event, at a place, at somewhere you want to be. And think of it in this way. If you've got to make a car trip in 20 years, you're not going to be driving the car.
Right.
Right? So here's where I'm going with that, is that telepresence, if you've got a car, you know, right now it's surrounded with windows. Why? Because you have to drive and you have to see, right? So if you're in a car,
It'll
you're
be
going
autonomous.
there, the autonomous car, you've got to spend a half hour or an hour going up to LA. Well, I think you're just going to hit the button and go on the road to Maui. So outside of your car is going to be just like you're viewing your road to Hana or you know, wherever you're going. And
or you just get on the Hyperloop and go to Vegas.
Just one example of telepresence. You could be at a concert. You could be behind stage. You could be somewhere that you could never go.
Experience.
But if you're a voyeur, if you're that person who wants to see that, to be there, you'll have a selection of all kinds of things to go to. Right now, we're not used to people doing that. In other words, there's no service that allows you to personally go unless you pay a ton of dough. You know what I mean? So we haven't thought of it as something people would want to do, but I believe that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, good point.
Well, you saw the film Surrogates, right?
I did not.
It was about that.
Oh, was it?
It was about you lived your life through a surrogate that was basically you never left. Your surrogate interacted with the outside world.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
I would have loved my surrogate
should-
loading the truck this morning. That would have been
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Well,
That's
wouldn't we all? You know, but you should watch it. It's kind of thought provoking.
No, I will. I will watch it now
in
that
that
you
regard.
mention it.
That sounds very cool.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But once again, it circles back to interaction with people.
Yeah.
You know, Elon Musk, there was a lot of talk about the auto show about the future of vehicles. You know, you're going to see that now because of the decision GM has made, much of the consternation that's on the Hill, you know, in regards to their model. Why? Because they're going to sink all of their money into automation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
because
yes.
that's where it's going.
That's where
whether
it's at.
you know kicking and screaming, that's where it's going. I mean, like our business, there are trends. You know, 2K. What's that now? You know, 2K is becoming like standard def.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
Oh,
like standard
2K.
def.
Oh
used
my
to be.
God, that is standard. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I think of 2K
Yeah.
as standard.
It's true.
I do.
Yeah,
You know.
because
I
it
think it's
is
regular def.
because it
It's
is
regular def.
standard.
Because it
It's
is, yes,
it's
yes.
regular def, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
But now you want your color space, you want your 4K, you want your 8K, and who knows what you're going to want in 5 years?
Oh,
You know,
impossible.
and-
Impossible to think. Yeah. You know
But I
what?
bet you ask any.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, you ask any Gen Zer though what they're going to want in 5 years, they could probably tell you with no
Right.
uncertain terms what they want. It might not exist yet, but they could tell you what they want, and there's a good chance that it will be well on its way to happen. You know.
Well, you know what? This is sort of a classic one. I think I was with Nick Brandstetter and Hunter Rogers one time coming back from LA, and we were talking tech, right? And of course, who could come from two different points of
Right.
view? And I'm going. I just think this stuff is so awesome. I think what you can do, you can get emails, you can get all this stuff and stuff. He goes. I go, is this about what you guys, you think it's working good? They go, nah, this stuff's too slow. They're going, no, this ain't working. You know what I mean?
This ain't
No,
working.
this should be a lot better. But you know what, hey, Ben, this is another thing. Think about this, both of you guys. That's another thing. You know what I think? We're at a bad place with technology as a society right now. We are worshiping it. We should be beating it down.
Yes.
Because you know what? We're acting like they're doing us a favor. We're doing them a favor. You know, we should be a lot more demanding of our technology. We should be a lot more, you know, like make it where no one would think about gathering your information.
Right.
You know, or that you own your own personal information. Shooting, you know.
Oh, but it's all
nobody
about
even talks
it's all
that.
about the metrics, though. It's all about the metrics, though. Everything is so driven by metrics now. I mean, research. I mean, it's almost like Minority Reports. You know.
Oh, it is Minority Report.
heck yeah.
Yeah,
Get
we're
facial
halfway there.
recognition. It knows it's you. It knows what
Yeah.
you want. It knows where you shop. You know, which
Oh,
creates
even
business
more
for
than
all of us.
I don't want to go into
You know?
detail, but even more than that, where you shop and stuff, that is pretty surfacey. You know what I mean? They get that just like in your car.
No, they dive deep. Trust me. Oh yeah, they go much deeper.
Dive deep, and
Yeah.
they've got you figured out
You-
politically, regionally,
Yes.
economically, educationally. They've got you figured out in all of those categories.
Absolutely.
You know? And you know what? They're probably, you know, I'm even being conservative now. They're probably 98% right
Right.
about
Yeah.
somebody and what they
Sure.
will do. You know, I think the human being has, due to population, due to economics, due to just the life you have, we've become as people, far too manageable. We should be much more unmanageable. But of course, in our society, for reasons that are obvious, I believe, they celebrate you being manageable.
Right.
They celebrate you being not a cog in the wheel. You know what I mean? But I think.
But wasn't the '60s about that, Bernie?
What's that? That's
Wasn't
what
the '60s
were about.
The '60s
Exactly.
was about,
Exactly.
but it's like a pendulum. It's like a pendulum. It's cyclical, like everything else.
Yeah.
Things go through phases. I mean, remember conspicuous consumption when it was
Yeah.
all about me and my, and you had to have the Beamer and
Yeah.
the glut of lawyers. Everybody had to be an attorney.
Yeah.
You know, and people that worked in production, we were all just crazy artisans. You know who?
Oh yeah,
you know,
we were. Off
You know, we're just a bunch of, you know, we're just a bunch of odd, you know, right brain people, you know,
Yeah,
kind of
right,
just,
yeah.
you know.
You know, Bernie,
So-
when Ben brought up 2019 coming up, my thoughts were live streaming.
Yeah.
You
okay.
know, because you know, Sean over there in Techville, he always said the fear of missing out. You know,
yeah.
and that strikes me.
From the
deep.
time you were a kid, you didn't
Yeah.
want to go to bed because you're going to miss
You're
something.
gonna you're gonna miss Bozo the Clown.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You know, next week.
Right.
So I think live streaming
And-
is going to be key in 2000.
Oh, I think so. I think that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Oh well,
Yeah.
it's all. I mean, and the thing about it is there's so many questions about privacy and about hacking and about just there are a lot of questions about streaming
Right.
content, about where your message is going and who your message, more importantly, is coming from.
Yeah. Oh,
You
big
know,
time.
does that give people a platform to do good and bad? Because it's going to happen.
Oh, it
You
will
know.
always happen that way. I'll tell you, it's Pandora's box, right? All
Well,
the
yeah,
good,
yes.
beautiful stuff coming out is equally represented by the bad and the opposite.
That's right.
We're humans, and that is a very human battle. You can throw all the technology on top of the human battle, but it's only going to go those different ways. I mean, it's going to be good to help in some ways, bad to help in others. That's our war with
Right.
with eternity. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Is the good and the bad. So, and Ben, what about you? What do you see as a trend coming up?
Once again, I'm seeing it kind of ties into what Gary said. I think we're going to see an even deeper evolution of something akin to the police body cam that is going to enable you to do some version. I think we're going to see journalism take a real change in that regard and,
Oh,
and
that's a
become
very
much
good
more
point.
person.
Yeah.
I think in the not too distant future, events are going to become immersive, where you're actually, like you said, have a telepresence at an event.
Yes,
Where
yes.
at a fire, you're going to be with a firefighter in the thick of it,
Yeah.
experiencing it either as an AR or experience or some way. You're
Yeah.
going to be able to experience events on a global level,
Yeah.
like you're there.
Yeah.
So I think that bodes that is part of the future.
Yeah.
I mean, my mind is blown to what can be, because what seems so far-fetched to me now is happening. I mean, if
Oh.
you would have told me a few years ago that we were going to drop a probe on Mars that was traveling at almost 13,000 miles an hour, deploy a parachute, land it successfully,
Yeah.
and be relaying back telemetry from two satellites that were the size of briefcases, I would have said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
guess what?
Yeah.
That's old news now.
Sure is.
So I shudder when I think what's going to be new a year from now when we're having this discussion. What do you think will have happened? A lot,
Well, let me ask you
So-
this, Ben, too, and this is one point that I've been thinking about. At this point in our world today, I have no ability to discern between truth and fiction on what technology can do. I am do not have any defense against saying, oh, that's impossible right now, or that is possible. There are so many things changing with the human body. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but a Chinese doctor, they just announced
heard about
yesterday
this, yeah.
gene editing.
Yes.
And he took two twin girls,
Yep.
edited their genes, their genetic makeup, to make them less susceptible to HIV.
And other forms of disease.
Okay. Yeah, I heard the HIV.
We can't even get into that. That's
Well,
a whole nother.
And let me tell
that's
you
a
something.
whole
Let me tell
nother
you
deal,
something,
man.
Ben. Let me tell you something. If you have, right, your child, right, and say, unfortunately, the child loses an eye, Now, the new test, the new thing, the new technology they got, they can put an eye in that child, and you can go close up. You can go black and white. You can look at ground and tell what minerals are laid. You can go flare, and see at night, and all that
Sure.
stuff. Now, you and I think, okay, that's great. With the kid's got something
The
tool that's
super
going to
eye.
help him.
Yeah.
You know what the kid's classmate's going to say?
I
want one.
That's right.
I want one, and your parents are going to go, oh, don't be so, Jimmy lost his eye. You've got good eyes.
Yeah.
I got a good eye, but not as good as that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You know what?
true.
That's
And
the
you-
way we're going. That's the way we're going.
And once again, it harkens back to our business. All of these subjects have been touched on in films.
Yes.
Think
Yes,
about it.
yes.
Well, you just described Johnny Mnemonic.
That's
Okay.
right.
With Keanu Reeves.
I've got to go
that
see
was
more
the log
movies.
line of, that
the
was
Terminator.
the log line of the film. Everybody was upgrading because they could.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and once again, that's you know, that's way out of my wheelhouse, but you know, I have, you know, it gets into the haves and the have-nots, and we already have enough of that. You know, can you afford? My kid's going to die because I can't afford to have my gene spliced, but you know, you can, so your
Well,
kid
you know
won't.
what?
Ooh,
That is going to be,
you know,
look at it this way. When you ask that question, think about this. How many starving children do you still see in the world
amazing.
today on the news? And there is plenty of food. I mean, I throw away food on almost every meal I eat. There's something left over.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, and can that continue? You would think it would be completely wiped out by now, even morally or as a humanitarian cause. That would never happen. But it is happening certainly in Yemen right now, and
yeah.
the Sudan and all those places. So that is, you know, it could definitely happen.
well, with global warming, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, what's
Who
going to happen?
knows?
You
Who
know?
knows?
Ben, you know, I want to hit
gonna-
on what you said about journalism. I think all of us are going to become journalists.
I believe that too.
We're all going to be wearing
Well,
the cameras, wearable cameras,
Well,
and we're going to be reporting
Rodney
off from
King-
around the world.
Rodney King started that. Okay?
Yes.
The whole Rodney King thing. George Halliday, you know, that whole thing started that because, and once again, you know, everything is interconnected. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Technology, we're back to technology again. You have more technology in your hand. In that smartphone gives you the ability to record and to stream images with a quickness. Okay, think about it. There's an earthquake in Alaska. The whole world knows about it inside of 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's technology. You know,
Yeah.
what used to take weeks for news to travel now takes seconds.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a big enough event, the whole world literally will know about it within minutes.
You know what? I've come to have a lot more appreciation for the saying, ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
You know, because you cannot stay ignorant of most things anymore. People do.
Yeah.
They manage
They
to,
try.
certainly. Yeah, because they want to avoid the truth. But you just do not have the advantage of being ignorant, truly ignorant, you know.
And you
most
can,
things.
which is why we're having this talk. That comes back to our business. As older people in our business, all of us, the three of us we're at the back end of our careers. We still have a lot to give, but we're at the back end of our careers. But we still want to stay relevant.
Yes.
Keep a hand in.
Absolutely.
You know, stay informed, not be ignorant. Because in our world, in this business, ignorance is not bliss.
No.
You know, ignorance is the kiss of death.
Well,
you will get left
exactly.
behind, and your phone will not ring if you stay ignorant. You have to keep up, you know, until you decide you don't want to keep up anymore. Because if you don't, you will get left behind. You will.
And it's a very real thing. I see it at my age. Sometimes I feel like, do I have to change again? Do I have to do this? And the answer is yes, you do.
Yeah,
if
you
want
do.
To stay relevant.
You do.
You know, but you do it. But that is a very natural order of things too. And I think there's some wisdom that guys our age should look at too. Know when to step back.
Yes.
Know when to go ahead and not have to be the top dog on the block anymore. Yep. You know what I mean? Accept the fact there's a new generation. Be able to change your cadence or your pace in life. It's
true.
You know?
It's funny you should say that. A lot of us have a hard time taking direction from what we perceive as somebody that is more junior than us.
Yes.
Okay? That's a natural thing. When you have some 40-year-old telling you what to do, you're kind of looking at them, well, what does this kid know? Well, that kid may very well know a lot more than you do, or they may not. And the whole thing about it is we have to learn how to understand, how to listen, and how to be spoken to. Absolutely. Younger people need to learn how, you know, not to talk to us like, no, this old person can't possibly get what I'm talking about. and vice versa. You see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You can't discount each other. We still need to train and help those who are behind us, because we can learn from them and they can certainly learn from us. And that is how the craft progresses.
Right. You know, Ben, we got a quick question here. I'm going to have Tony give us that. And what do we got, Tony?
From one of our regular viewers, Grandma G.
Grandma G!
Grandma G!
In the house.
She actually asked a very, very generalized question. Will we lose the artistry? AI actors, automated light, and CGI. I'll miss the artists who paint with light and actors who transport us into story. Writers who tell a human story like only they can.
You know, I guess
okay,
just
ahead,
as
Bernie.
a starter, I would say we probably will lose something. We'll lose something that we. I'm not sure that it won't be as effective or as good. You know what I mean? As something. Ben, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it boils down to this, okay? It boils down to economics. If you look at the studio model, okay, what are studios doing these days? They're releasing a handful of high-budget films a year, okay?
Yep.
That is why you're seeing all these big names, people who used to poo-poo television and the internet are suddenly appearing in all these shows because that's where the work is. Artists want to work. They want to work. Plain and simple, okay? There is an appetite. There is a need. There's not always a need for the high dollar, big budget, but there is a need for video. So I think it's going to be tiered. There's going to be programming for mass consumption, which is going to be a lot of CG, cost effective, just crank it out, eye candy. And at the other end, there's going to be still high dollar artistry made with real people. There's going to be a blend of CGI and technology.
Water,
it's going to be shot with feeling, with passion. There's still going to be DPs who, up until they absolutely stop making film, or as technology advances to the point where you just cannot tell the difference between video and film anymore, and they've got video actually looking like it's an organic medium. You know, it's close, but it's not there yet.
You know what?
I
just want to tag on what Ben said there too. You know how we think of actors and the directors and how important everybody is? Go ask any young actor today, hey, do you know who Spencer Tracy is?
No.
No, they don't know.
Bye-bye.
You know who Anne Bancroft is?
No.
They don't know. I mean, these people are talented leaders. You know what I mean? And you forget them. Your generation forgets them, goes on to their own. Gary, what's your 2 cents on this?
You know, I love the Kardashians.
I just saw Mom Kardashian a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh, there you go. And you know what?
She was there.
That sums it up so good right there, Gary, in just one succinct thing. That is so good. You know, I think
therein lies the difference.
And therein lies the difference. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been awesome. I'm really hoping we can do this again. We're about the end. We're about the end of the show now, Gary.
Yeah, and Ben, I just want to say, whatever you're eating or drinking, send me the recipe. You're looking great.
You're looking great, buddy. Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, hey, you know, I've had my ups and downs with my health, but I'm still kicking. I'm healthy. I'm doing okay. I have no complaints, and thanks. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Gary, thank you, brother.
Right on, Bernie.
Excellent, sir. We have another great show today. And I'll see you guys back here next Friday at 2 o'clock. And we have Tom Jacob from Erie, and we are doing a great piece on the Skylink. So you'll want to check that out. That Skylink, we went up and shot it at yesterday. Oh yeah, it's been.
I saw something on Facebook. That's what you were doing. I saw a post. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. All right.
All right, guys.
Take care,
All
Ben.
right, thanks. We'll see you next week.
Be safe.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Cut. That's a wrap.